Day 98, 1 Samuel 1-3. Chronological plan, Hannah's prayer, Eli's sons, and the calling of Samuel. What happens when God breaks the silence? Chronological Bible reading. Day 98, 1 Samuel 1-3, with original Hebrew vocabulary and the full text narrated in Portuguese and English. 1 Samuel 1. Hannah was a childless woman, provoked year after year by her rival Peninnah. In bitterness of soul, she poured out her prayer before God in Shiloh with such intensity that the priest Eli mistook her for a drunken woman. But God heard. Hannah conceived a son, named him Samuel, and fulfilled her vow. She gave the boy to the temple service while he was still a young child. 1 Samuel 2. Hannah's prayer becomes a song of praise that celebrates the reversals God brings about. The bows of the mighty are broken. The barren woman bears 7 children. Meanwhile, Eli's sons, Hophni and Phinehas, despised the offerings of Yahweh and corrupted the priesthood. The contrast is striking. Samuel grew in favor before God, while a man of God announced judgment upon the house of Eli and the promise of a faithful priest. 1 Samuel 3. God's word was rare in those days. One night, while the temple lamp was still burning, God called Samuel by name 4 times. The boy did not recognize the voice until Eli instructed him to answer, "Speak, Lord, for your servant hears." The first message Samuel received was a devastating judgment against the house of Eli. From that moment on, all Israel recognized Samuel as a prophet of Yahweh, and God once again made himself known in Shiloh. Today you will learn words such as Shafakh, to pour out, the verb Hannah used to describe her prayer before God; Beliyaal, worthless, the word that describes the depravity of Eli's sons; and Yaqar, rare, the condition of God's word before Samuel's calling. Tomorrow we continue the chronological plan with Day 99. Save this video to come back to it. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss a single day of this journey through the Word. 1 Samuel, chapter 1. Now there was a certain man of Ramathaim Zophim, of the hill country of Ephraim, and his name was Elkanah, the son of Jeroham, the son of Elihu, the son of Tohu, the son of Zuph, an Ephraimite. He had 2 wives. The name of one was Hannah, and the name of the other Peninnah. Peninnah had children, but Hannah had no children. This man went up out of his city from year to year to worship and to sacrifice to Yahweh of armies in Shiloh. The 2 sons of Eli, Hophni and Phinehas, priests to Yahweh, were there. When the day came that Elkanah sacrificed, he gave portions to Peninnah his wife, and to all her sons and her daughters. 5. But he gave a double portion to Hannah, for he loved Hannah, but Yahweh had shut up her womb. Her rival provoked her severely to irritate her, because Yahweh had shut up her womb. So year by year, when she went up to Yahweh's house, her rival provoked her. Therefore she wept and didn't eat. Elkanah, her husband, said to her, "Hannah, why do you weep? Why don't you eat? Why is your heart grieved? Am I not better to you than 10 sons?" So Hannah rose up after they had finished eating and drinking in Shiloh. Now Eli the priest was sitting on his seat by the doorpost of Yahweh's temple. She was in bitterness of soul and prayed to Yahweh, weeping bitterly. She vowed a vow and said, "Yahweh of armies, if you will indeed look on the affliction of your servant, and remember me, and not forget your servant, but will give to your servant a boy, then I will give him to Yahweh all the days of his life, and no razor shall come on his head." As she continued praying before Yahweh, Eli noticed her mouth. Now Hannah spoke in her heart. Only her lips moved, but her voice was not heard. Therefore Eli thought she was drunk. Eli said to her, "How long will you be drunk? Get rid of your wine." Hannah answered, "No, my lord, I am a woman of a sorrowful spirit. I have not been drinking wine or strong drink, but I poured out my soul before Yahweh." "Don't count your servant as a wicked woman, for I have been speaking out of the abundance of my complaint and my provocation." Then Eli answered, "Go in peace, and may the God of Israel grant your petition that you have asked of him." She said, "Let your servant find favor in your sight." So the woman went her way and ate, and her facial expression was no longer sad. They rose up in the morning early and worshipped before Yahweh, then returned and came to their house to Ramah. Then Elkanah knew Hannah his wife, and Yahweh remembered her. When the time had come, Hannah conceived and bore a son, and she named him Samuel, saying, "Because I have asked him of Yahweh." The man Elkanah and all his house went up to offer to Yahweh the yearly sacrifice and his vow. But Hannah didn't go up, for she said to her husband, "Not until the child is weaned, then I will bring him, that he may appear before Yahweh, and stay there forever." Elkanah, her husband, said to her, "Do what seems good to you. Wait until you have weaned him, only may Yahweh establish his word." So the woman waited and nursed her son until she weaned him. When she had weaned him, she took him up with her with 3 bulls and 1 ephah of meal and a container of wine, and brought him to Yahweh's house in Shiloh. The child was young. They killed the bull and brought the child to Eli. She said, "O my Lord, as your soul lives, my Lord, I am the woman who stood by you here praying to Yahweh. I prayed for this child, and Yahweh has given me my petition which I asked of him. Therefore I have also given him to Yahweh. As long as he lives, he is given to Yahweh." He worshipped Yahweh there. 1 Samuel chapter 2. Hannah prayed and said, "My heart exults in Yahweh. My horn is exalted in Yahweh. My mouth is enlarged over my enemies, because I rejoice in your salvation. There is no one as holy as Yahweh. For there is no one besides you, nor is there any rock like our God. Don't keep talking so exceedingly proudly. Don't let arrogance come out of your mouth, for Yahweh is a God of knowledge. By him actions are weighed. The bows of the mighty men are broken. Those who stumbled are armed with strength. Those who were full have hired themselves out for bread. Those who were hungry are satisfied. Yes, the barren has borne 7. She who has many children languishes. Yahweh kills and makes alive. He brings down to Sheol and brings up. Yahweh makes poor and makes rich. He brings low, he also lifts up. He raises up the poor out of the dust. He lifts up the needy from the dunghill, to make them sit with princes and inherit the throne of glory. For the pillars of the earth are Yahweh's. He has set the world on them. He will keep the feet of his holy ones. But the wicked will be put to silence in darkness, for no man will prevail by strength. Those who strive with Yahweh shall be broken to pieces. He will thunder against them in the sky. Yahweh will judge the ends of the earth. He will give strength to his king and exalt the horn of his anointed. Elkanah went to Ramah to his house. The child served Yahweh before Eli the priest. Now the sons of Eli were wicked men. They didn't know Yahweh. The custom of the priests with the people was that when anyone offered a sacrifice, the priest's servant came while the meat was boiling, with a fork of 3 teeth in his hand, 14, and he thrust it into the pan or kettle or cauldron or pot. All that the fork brought up, the priest took for himself. So they did in Shiloh to all the Israelites who came there. Yes, before they burned the fat, the priest's servant came and said to the man who sacrificed, "Give meat to roast for the priest, for he will not accept boiled meat from you, but raw." If the man said to him, "Let the fat be burned first, and then take as much as your soul desires," then he would say, "No, but you shall give it to me now, and if not, I will take it by force." The sin of the young men was very great before Yahweh, for the men despised Yahweh's offering. But Samuel ministered before Yahweh, being a child, clothed with a linen ephod. Moreover, his mother made him a little robe, and brought it to him from year to year, when she came up with her husband to offer the yearly sacrifice. Eli blessed Elkanah and his wife, and said, "May Yahweh give you offspring from this woman for the petition which was asked of Yahweh." Then they went to their own home. Yahweh visited Hannah, and she conceived and bore 3 sons and 2 daughters. The child Samuel grew before Yahweh. Now Eli was very old, and he heard all that his sons did to all Israel, and how that they slept with the women who served at the door of the tent of meeting. He said to them, "Why do you do such things? For I hear of your evil dealings from all these people. No, my sons, for it is not a good report that I hear. You make Yahweh's people disobey. If one man sins against another, God will judge him. But if a man sins against Yahweh, who will intercede for him?" Notwithstanding, they didn't listen to the voice of their father, because Yahweh intended to kill them. The child Samuel grew on, and increased in favor both with Yahweh and also with men. A man of God came to Eli and said to him, "Yahweh says, Did I indeed reveal myself to the house of your father when they were in Egypt in bondage to Pharaoh's house? Didn't I choose him out of all the tribes of Israel to be my priest, to go up to my altar, to burn incense, to wear an ephod before me? Didn't I give to the house of your father all the offerings of the children of Israel made by fire? Why do you kick at my sacrifice and at my offering, which I have commanded in my habitation, and honor your sons above me, to make yourselves fat with the best of all the offerings of Israel my people? Therefore Yahweh, the God of Israel, says, I said indeed that your house and the house of your father should walk before me forever. But now Yahweh says, Far be it from me, for those who honor me I will honor, and those who despise me will be lightly esteemed. Behold, the days come that I will cut off your arm and the arm of your father's house, that there will not be an old man in your house. You will see the affliction of my habitation in all the wealth which God gives Israel, and there shall not be an old man in your house forever. The man of yours whom I don't cut off from my altar will consume your eyes and grieve your heart. All the increase of your house will die in the flower of their age. This will be the sign to you that will come on your 2 sons, on Hophni and Phinehas. In one day they will both die. I will raise up a faithful priest for myself, who will do according to that which is in my heart and in my mind. I will build him a sure house. He will walk before my anointed forever. It will happen that everyone who is left in your house will come and bow down to him for a piece of silver and a loaf of bread, and will say, Please put me into one of the priest's offices, that I may eat a morsel of bread. 1 Samuel chapter 3. The child Samuel ministered to Yahweh before Eli. Yahweh's word was rare in those days. There were not many visions then. At that time when Eli was laid down in his place, now his eyes had begun to grow dim so that he could not see. God's lamp hadn't yet gone out, and Samuel had laid down in Yahweh's temple where God's ark was. Yahweh called Samuel. He said, Here I am. He ran to Eli and said, Here I am, for you called me. He said, I didn't call. Lie down again. He went and lay down. Yahweh called yet again, Samuel. Samuel arose and went to Eli and said, Here I am, for you called me. He answered, I didn't call, my son. Lie down again. Now Samuel didn't yet know Yahweh, neither was Yahweh's word yet revealed to him. Yahweh called Samuel again the 3rd time. He arose and went to Eli and said, Here I am, for you called me. Eli perceived that Yahweh had called the child. Therefore Eli said to Samuel, Go, lie down. It shall be, if he calls you, that you shall say, Speak, Yahweh, for your servant hears. So Samuel went and lay down in his place. Yahweh came and stood and called as at other times, Samuel, Samuel. Then Samuel said, Speak, for your servant hears. Yahweh said to Samuel, Behold, I will do a thing in Israel at which both the ears of everyone who hears it will tingle. In that day I will perform against Eli all that I have spoken concerning his house, from the beginning even to the end. For I have told him that I will judge his house forever for the iniquity which he knew, because his sons brought a curse on themselves, and he didn't restrain them. Therefore I have sworn to the house of Eli that the iniquity of Eli's house shall not be removed with sacrifice or offering forever. Samuel lay until the morning and opened the doors of Yahweh's house. Samuel feared to show Eli the vision. Then Eli called Samuel and said, "Samuel, my son." He said, "Here I am." He said, "What is the thing that he has spoken to you? Please don't hide it from me. God do so to you, and more also if you hide anything from me of all the things that he spoke to you." Samuel told him every bit and hid nothing from him. He said, "It is Yahweh. Let him do what seems good to him." Samuel grew, and Yahweh was with him, and let none of his words fall to the ground. All Israel from Dan, even to Beersheba, knew that Samuel was established to be a prophet of Yahweh. Yahweh appeared again in Shiloh, for Yahweh revealed himself to Samuel in Shiloh by Yahweh's word. We close here day 98 of our journey through the Word. In 1 Samuel 1 through 3, we witnessed how Hannah's desperate prayer became the turning point for an entire nation. Where the priesthood failed, God raised a prophet. And it all started with a woman who poured out her soul and a boy who said, "Speak, Yahweh." Day 98 complete.